Watch out, yes, it's the end of another month and another bot haul I've got for you. Yes, so let's get started, shall we? It all began on Saturday the 4th of July. Went up to Bury, as I do every fortnight. And Saturday morning I get up, have breakfast at a local cafe, and then I take a wander around Bury town centre, and I go to a few shops on a like mini toy hunt. And I go to the Entertainer, and then I walk across the ring road to the retail park and go to Smith's, and there's also a B&M home stores there as well, which I sometimes drop into. Anyway, this particular morning went into Entertainer, didn't see anything of any interest. I think they had RID Jazz, but I'm not really interested in him. So went across the road to Smith's, and what should be staring me in the face? Hotspots! Yes, Combiner Wars Wave 3 has finally hit UK stores. And this was the first guy I saw, and I thought, oh, do I really want to buy him? You know, he's $22.99. But yeah, I went for him. I thought, yeah, my first Combiner Wars Voyager torso bot. He's alright. Nice colour. The ladder, yeah. Massive kibble. Has a job to stow it away in robot mode. And certain bits, especially in Combiner, don't sort of peg together properly. He keeps sort of falling to bits. He's alright though. I quite enjoying him. Yeah, so he was the first bot I bought this month. Okay, yeah, and then next, moving on to the following day, Sunday the 5th of July, I went to Ramsbottom car boot sale. I've often mentioned this before. It's the East Lancs Railway goes from Bury to Rawtenstall in one direction, and then Bury to Haywood in the other direction. And one of the intermediate stations is Ramsbottom. And on Sunday mornings during the summer, they have a small car boot sale in the car park at the railway station. So, as it was a diesel gala, I was out riding around on the trains. So I rode a train up to Ramsbottom and got out, went round the car boot sales. And, as it happens, my mate Mr. Lee was there. I had a quick natter to him, and he had his stalls out. Didn't have any Transformer toys. Well, not strictly true. He did have one Transformer toy. Power Core Combiners Sledge. Now, this guy was in a packet, and he came with this dude, his little Minicon partner, called Throttler, who transforms into like a purple sort of drill bit thing. Sledge, I quite like him. He's really cool. He's got a really mega hench bot mode. I mean, look at that. He's like... Bleh. And being a Power Core Combiner, he's got like a double head sculpt. You turn the head round, and he's got a different face. That's quite cool. He also transforms into a construction vehicle, but being a Transformer and a Decepticon, it's some outrageous construction vehicle. It's, you know, it's what happens if a bulldozer mated with an excavator and a chainsaw, and this is what you get. It's an outrageous, outlandish vehicle mode, construction vehicle, but it's got quite a bit of articulation in the vehicle mode, and I quite like it. Not bothered about the combiner gimmick on these, because the limbs, they're not proper bots. They just transform into limbs from vehicles or beasts. So not interested in getting those. But this guy's quite cool, and came in a pack, brand new, with this guy for £5. I'm quite pleased with that. So, yeah, moving on. Next, Wednesday the 8th of July. Because I got Hotspot, I thought, well, I wonder if any of the other Combiner Wars Wave 3 figures have filtered through. So I was coming home from work and I decided, well, actually, I got out of work an hour early because of reasons. Yeah, that's right, it was a training course. I was on a training course at work, and it finished an hour early, and they said job and knock. So I went home an hour early, so I had an extra hour on my hands. I thought, oh no, I'm going to go around the supermarkets. So I went on a little jolly round the local supermarkets when I got home. And I did a little video before where you saw the results of said trip, but let's go over them again, shall we? Went to Tesco's in Warwick, the big Tesco's, and they went in the main doors and they had a big display of RID figures, and I was having a flick through and got to Legion Fixit. They had Legion Fixit in there. They didn't have, because this is a Wave 3 figure, they didn't have Thunderhoof and Fracture, but they did have Sideswipe and Jazz. But I've already got Sideswipe and I don't want Jazz. So yeah, Fixit. He's great. For a Legion figure, he's pretty neat. He's got bags of articulation. And yeah, pretty cool. So I got him. Then I drove back into Leamington and went to Asda's. And Asda, where I live, their toy aisle is pants. It really is. It's just a mess of toys from all sorts of brands, just higgledy-piggledy on the shelves. There was some Transformer stuff there, but nothing that I wanted. So then I went to Sainsbury's, which is just around the corner from where I live, big Sainsbury's. And that was when I found Thunderhoof and Rook. Yep, they had RID Wave 3 and Combiner Wars Wave 3 on the shelf. They had all the Combiner Wars Wave 3 stuff. They had all the 4 Limbot, and they had the Legends class figures as well. And I wanted this guy because after I got Fracture, I wanted Thunderhoof because he looks great. So I got him too. So I got those two, which was good. Very next day, I had a eBay item come in, and I've reviewed this bot as well because I wanted to review it ASAP because it's a bot from Korea, and the only people that have reviewed this bot are Koreans. Nobody in the West has reviewed this bot yet, so I thought I'd be the first. Carbot Veloster Sky. Yes. I like my Carbots. I've got Dandy, now I've got Sky. I'm going to get some more. I'm looking to get Prawn and Hawk at some point. Yeah, she's amazing. Typical Carbot, absolutely loaded with clickitude. Awesome quality, nice colours, good quality plastic. Big, very big bots. I mean, these things are leader class size. The only thing that's wrong with them is they lack intermediate articulation. You know, like they haven't got a waist swivel, they haven't got fist swivels, they haven't got bicep swivels or hip swivels. So they're lacking the articulation joints that would really set these figures off as being amazing. As they are, they're still pretty good, but it's just a shame they didn't go that extra level just to give them a bit more. Well, that's got a bit of a swivel there. Anyway, but she's still great. Great transformation. Great looking figure. Yeah, got her. Next we move on to the weekend. And it was a car boot weekend. Now, yeah, I went to CJ's. And as far as I remember, there wasn't much at CJ's. I think there was a few little things, but it was stuff that I think there was some broken bots there, bots with bits missing, and nothing great. And it was very small as well because there had been a threat of rain, so it was very small. So yeah, I then went over to Stoneleigh, which is the other car boot I usually go to. Went round, thought I'm going to do the cattle sheds first, so I went round the cattle sheds. Slim pickings, but I did manage to find a few things. And first thing was this guy, Legion class Red Alert. He's pretty good. And on the same table was this guy, Universe Legends Onslaught. This thing, I don't know why I bought it. I thought, well, these are the only bots I'm going to be able to find at this car boot sale. Little did I know, this thing, it has got one of the laziest transformations I have ever seen on any bot. I mean, look. There it is. And then you just go. It's ridiculous. This is a Legends figure from the same line, and this thing has got a transformation that's like 10 times more complex than this thing. I'm seriously thinking about doing a video. You know, I can't quite find the right title for it, but something on the lines of top 10 Transformers that you hate to transform, or top 10 Transformers you dislike to transform or don't want to transform. This guy will probably be on that list because he's so ridiculously simple. It's... But I bought it anyway. I mean, they were what, 50p and 25p? Right, now, went across to the other side where the main halls are, started going round. Then I came up to some chap who had a fairly big stall with lots of toys on. And I spied out the corner of my eye, under his table, he had a large cardboard box full of broken and dusty G1 Transformers. And I thought, oh, hello, let's have a look at this. So I had a word with the bloke, and the bloke allowed me to get it out and have a good old root through. And I mean, this box was about that big and about that deep, and it was full of late G1 Transformers. There was a lot of Micromaster sets in there, but most of this stuff was broken. It was dusty. It looked like it had been in someone's garden shed or an attic, and the bots were been played to death. They were all loose. They got sticker wear. They got bits missing. Ah, it was awful. It was like your worst nightmare come true for a Transformer. This box was just full of G1 dross. But there were a few gems amongst them. I mean, what was in this box was all 4 Dinobots. There was a Metroplex that was broken in 2. G1 Galvatron, but I wasn't interested in him. There was about 4 Headmasters. There was Skullcruncher, Mindwipe, Chrome Dome and Hardhead in various states of decay. There was a G1 Hot Rod that was in pretty much as loose as anything, decal wear, and his cockpit had broken off. There was just so much stuff in this box. So I had a root through, and the first thing I pulled out was this guy. G1 Target Master Scoop. Now, obviously I recognised him. I thought I knew who that was straight away. It's Scoop. Now, me being a fool, I didn't realise that he was a double Target Master. I knew the Generations one is a double Target Master, but I didn't realise the G1 one was a double Target Master. Now, there was a small cardboard box full of load of Micromaster figures, and I think in there was some of the Target, some of the Target Masters, but I didn't notice them. Anyway, got this dude. He's pretty good. As you can see, decals are just worn away. He's ridiculously loose. This is fairly typical of the state the bots were in this box. Anyway, stand up. Yes, so he was the first one. Also in there was some of his partners from the same wave that he came out, and that was Quick Mix and Landfill were in there. And I was looking at them. I'd never seen these guys before. I kind of recognised the cement mixer. I thought, well, it looks like a Constructicon, but it's not. It's obviously not Mixmaster. I thought, well, who? I think I realised it was Quick Mix, but I wasn't quite sure the name of the other one. And I really looking at Landfill. I was really looking at him and thinking, this guy's pretty neat. I could go for this. But there was other things in the box that caught my eye, and I only had about 20 quid, so I didn't have a lot of money to spend. So anyway, there was this cardboard box on top that had a load of small bots in it, and there was a couple of mini Autobots. And I saw one and I thought, right, I'm having that bugger. this guy. Now, I thought that this was G1 Bumble Jumper, right? I honestly thought it was Bumble Jumper. Now, imagine my dismay when I got home and did some research on it and found out it's not G1 Bumble Jumper, it's the G1 Hubcap. It's the same mould as Cliff Jumper in yellow, but he's hasn't got the black bumpers. He's got an orange painted face, and he's got a rub symbol. So he's not Bumble Jumper, unfortunately. But I thought, and the guy, there was a Bumblebee in there as well, and the guy was saying, "Oh, you want to buy Bumblebee? You want to buy Bumblebee?" I says, "No, I don't, mate. I don't want Bumblebee. I've got enough Bumblebees, thanks. I don't want any more." And so I bought this guy. Anyway, bought him. The tyres are very cracked and perished. I've had to try and stick them together with super glue to stop them falling off. Then another bot I found, and Few Adam's favourite bot, G1 Crankcase. Did my research on him. Yes, Triggercon. Again, he's in really, really battered condition, but his gimmick still works. Nice and easy to transform. You can see, look, the decals are just worn away to nothing, but still works. See, gimmick still works. He's a great little bot, and I thought, well, yeah, he's good. I'll have him. He's good. So I picked him up. And then the Dinobots. Now, he had 4 Dinobots in there. All 4 of them. Obviously, we didn't get Swoop in the UK, so we just got the other 4. Sludge, Slag, Snarl, and Grimlock. Snarl was, unfortunately, he was a complete and utter wreck. He was just loose as anything. There was bits missing, massive chrome wear on him. He was just a wreck. Slag and Sludge were not too bad. They were very loose, bit dirty, decal wear, chrome wear, but they were mostly intact. But it was the Grimlock that caught my eye. And I thought, well, I've already got G1 Grimlock, but my G1 Grimlock's a bit of a wreck. Because I bought it at the NEC Toy Fair for 20 quid, and when I got it home and went to transform it, it broke in 2. Because someone had snapped the torso in half and then glued it together very badly. They glued it together so that they transformed it into the dinosaur mode, the glue had seeped out of the joint and welded the thing solid. So when I tried to transform it, it broke apart. So I sort of repaired it, but I thought, well, it's not really a great one. I could do with another one. Now this guy, again, like the others, very worn, very play worn. Chrome was all worn off him, dirty decals. Didn't look great, but at least he had a decent torso. So I thought, okay, I'm going to buy him as a replacement for my other one. But I was in a quandary. Do I get Grimlock or do I get Landfill? And I was looking at it, and the guy said, I'll give you 4 quid for Landfill, 7 quid for Grimlock. And it was like, So I went for Grimlock. Now, the Grimlock you see here isn't 100% the Grimlock that I bought at the car boot sale. This is a combination of parts from both my Grimlocks, because later in the day when I got home I decided, I was looking at my other Grimlock, and actually my other Grimlock had some really good parts on it, like the chrome was good on him, slightly better condition arms and legs, and so I thought, I'm going to swap the bits round, I'm going to take them both apart, lay them all out on the bed, and then I'm going to build one good Grimlock out of the best bits and a second Grimlock out of the other bits. This is the second Grimlock, but most of the bits off this are off that one I bought at the car boot sale. I mean, you can see he's all loose, but the chrome, as you can see on the tail, is just gone, and it's the same with the his arms here. Just chrome's just gone. So yeah, I've rebuilt this guy, and this guy was super loose. I mean, I looked at the manufacturing stamps on him. One was made in Macau and the other was made in Japan, and when I swapped the bits over, I like to swap the legs over and the arms over, the engineering tolerances were different between the two. So on one of them, they were both sort of much of a muchness. They're both sort of semi-loose. And then when I swapped them over, one of them was like super tight and the other one was like ridiculously loose. So this one I've had to work on it to sort it out. But this is my spare Grimlock now, and I'm going to be taking this along to auto assembly and putting him on the sales table. So if anybody's interested in a beta G1 Grimlock, it's going to be on the sales table for about £5. Right, so that was the car boot sale. Now, one thing I will say, I was so impressed with some of the other things that guy had in his box. There was other bots in there that I really wanted to make a play on because I only had 20 quid. I wanted more. I need to bring more money. The Skull Cruncher was in pretty good nick, apart from the fact he's missing the end of his tail, his gun, and his headmaster. All the headmasters were missing their headmasters, but I didn't root around in the box. There was a load of loose bits in the bottom, and the headmasters might have been in the bottom. I would have made a play on Sludge and Slag for sure, because they were in okay-ish condition. I would have gone for them. Yeah, there was a few. Obviously, the mini Target Masters as well. I wanted to get Quick Mix and Landfill, but I went back to that car boot sale a fortnight later, and he wasn't there, so missed out on that. Anyway, the last couple of bots I bought this month. Right, Toy Hunt, Coventry Toy Hunt, Friday the 24th of July. Went over to Smith's and I thought, right, okay, Combiner Wars Wave 3, bring it on. And they had Streetwise, Protector Bots, Streetwise. So I picked him up. He's alright, I quite like him. Quite an interesting transformation on this dude. He's alright. Then I went over to Toys R Us, and Toys R Us, in inimitable fashion, had absolutely sweet bugger all on the shelf. They had all the bots on there that I'd already got or didn't want. What is it with my Toys R Us? It's like the biggest toy shop in my area, and it has got the worst selection of Transformer toys. It is awful. Absolutely awful. No Combiner Wars Wave 3 stuff. It was ridiculous. Anyway, so I come away from there and thought, right, what am I going to do? And I thought, I know. I'd heard rumours that Forbidden Planet was getting in Combiner Wars Wave 2 figures. So I thought, I know, there's a Forbidden Planet in Coventry Town Centre. So I drove into Town Centre, went into the was it the West Orchards arcade, came out, Forbidden Planet's just across the road. So I trotted across the road to Forbidden Planet, went in. They haven't got a particularly good selection of Transformers in the Forbidden Planet in Coventry, but they had a few of interest, including some Generations figures. And of the Generations figures on show, I decided to go for Nightbeat. Yes, went for Nightbeat. He come with the comic, so it's obviously the American release. Yeah, he's alright. Interesting mould. Dig the colours. I love the blue. He's okay. So I picked him up. And then I thought, well, I want to complete a Combiner Wars combiner. So I needed one more limb to complete my defence saw. So where had I seen the Combiner Wars Wave 3 figures on the shelf? Back in Leamington, Sainsbury's. So when I got back to Leamington, went round the corner to Sainsbury's and got First Aid. Yeah, so I picked up First Aid. He's alright, yeah, I like him. Again, quite interesting transformation. He's pretty cool. Anyway, so that was it. Friday the 24th of July. End of the game. I decided I'm not going to buy any more bots now till the end of the month, and because it's auto assembly in August, I want to try and save some money. So that was it. I called time. July bot haul. Total 16 bots. The total spent £167.97. So decent score, decent amount of bots, but money wise, not much. You know, that's a drop in the ocean compared to the sort of money I have been spending this year. So, where do we go from here? Well, August is auto assembly. We've only got what? As I record this on Friday the 31st, we've got what? 4 weekends or 3 weeks and then auto assembly. It's coming, it's less than a month away. So I've now put a blanket ban on all bot buying activities until auto assembly. So auto assembly is going to be August. August is auto assembly. I've been thinking probably won't do a bot haul video for August. The simple fact of the matter is, obviously after auto assembly, I will be doing my auto assembly haul of all the bots I got auto assembly, which will be a couple of videos after auto assembly. And you'll already know what I picked up at auto assembly, so there's no point of doing a bot haul video at the end of the month. I was toying with the idea of putting another video in there instead, because these bot hauls that I've been doing, I only just started them in January because I thought, well, it's a new year, I'm going to do something every month on my channel, which is putting up a haul video for all the bots that I've bought throughout the month. Now, I only started that in January, but I started collecting Transformers back in May 2014. So you've got May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. You've got all those months in 2014 where I bought bots. So I was thinking of doing an archive catch-up video. And it's just going to be the galleries with the pictures to music of my 2014 bot hauls. So I'm toying with the idea of doing that. Anyways, that's about as much as I've got to say about bot hauls. Few notes about auto assembly. Now, obviously, auto assembly is coming up. Lots of people are doing their hopes and fears videos. I will be doing some videos for auto assembly, but not right now. No, I've got a week off work, the 10th to the 14th of August, and I'm planning to do my auto assembly videos then. I will be doing 2 videos for auto assembly. I'll be doing my obligatory pre-auto assembly video. None of your hopes and fears rubbish with me. I'm just going to talk about what my plans are for auto assembly, and then I'm going to do another video a bit closer to time where I'm going to issue my 2015 auto assembly challenge video, which I'm going to put out, but a little more on that later on. So yeah, next month not buying any bots apart from auto assembly. And I'm going to be taking a silly amount of money to auto assembly this year. Yeah. But obviously I'll talk more on that in my pre-auto assembly video. So that's all I've got to say today. Quite a good haul, all things considered. Yeah, things are moving on. I've got to do this on my week off. Got to cut this mop of hair. I've been holding out as close to auto assembly as possible before I get it cut. There. So there we go. That's me. I'm done. I will see you next time. Ta-ta.